Dave Ramsey recently said that the 4% safe withdrawal rate is stupid and that you can safely withdraw 8% of your portfolio every year in retirement without running out of money.
$1 million should create for you an $80,000 income, boys and girls, perpetually. Like, if forever. You should be able to pull $80,000 forever and never destroy it.
Let me show you why he's kind of right, but also mostly wrong at the same time, which is going to leave a bunch of people flat broke. Here's his claim. If your portfolio returns 12% annually and inflation is 4%, then you can safely withdraw 8%. Leave that 4% in the investment account for it to grow, then rinse and repeat this process every year, and you'll never run out of money. His reasoning for why this works is because the math that he gives is the math.
Listen, man, the math I just gave you is the math.
And I actually agree with him. In a vacuum, his math is correct. But the real world is not a spreadsheet, and his math ain't mathin'. I'll show you the probability of success with Dave's plan in just a minute, but let's start by breaking down why this is terrible advice to follow. The first problem with his claim is that you should continue to assume a 12% average annual return going forward, because that's what he's gotten in the past. I'm not saying he's lying about this return. He probably has gotten that up until this point. Heck, here are the average rolling returns of the S&P 500 over different 5, 10, 15, 20, and 30-year time periods. We can easily see that there's different time periods where it's around 12% and sometimes even above that. But anyone who even knows a little bit about investing knows that you shouldn't use past performance as an indicator of how things are going to play out in the future. And assuming something as high as 12% is absolutely bananas. This is like a super optimistic shoot for the stars expectation. Realistically, you'd want to have multiple ranges. So for example, maybe your average expectation is a 7% average annual return, a 9% optimistic return, and a 5% pessimistic return. Run the numbers, then make sure that you can handle all three of those outcomes. Obviously, you hope that you hit that optimistic number, but you are not banking your financial future on it. The second problem is with this safe withdrawal rate of 8%. It's basically how much you can safely withdraw from your portfolio every year to last you a certain amount of time. I'm not going to dig into all the research here, you can look it up if you want, but the general thought process is that you can safely withdraw 3 to 4% in the first year of retirement, then adjust up for inflation every year after for 30 years without depleting the principal balance. These numbers were determined by using a bunch of past data as opposed to Dave's vacuum calculation. You know what? His new nickname should be Dyson Dave. Keep in mind that the 3 to 4% is just a guideline. It could potentially be scaled up or down a little bit depending on a bunch of different factors that we're not going to cover in this video. As you can imagine, if 4% will get you through 30 years, then surely withdrawing 8% per year is going to deplete that principal balance in less than 30 years. I'm dog sitting right now, and I'm getting bothered. Hi, sweetheart. Well, let's see how quickly you're going to be poor by taking Dyson Dave's advice using the retirement planning software that I use called New Retirement. I put $1 million into a Roth 401k with a 12% average annual return for this hypothetical person. You're going to get the same type of results if we use a taxable account, but I'm trying to avoid confusing everyone by adding taxes in here. I also assumed no money for Social Security because Dave didn't assume that either. Plus, once again, it would just cause more confusion for this quick example. Then we've got an 8% withdrawal strategy starting at the beginning of 2024 because that's when this person is going to retire. And I'm also assuming Dave's 4% yearly inflation. New Retirement did 1,000 Monte Carlo simulations to account for normal ups and downs in the stock market to come up with this probability. The probability of success with this withdrawal strategy is 40%, give or take a few percentage points. It's like saying, hey, if you hop on that plane from Charlotte to San Francisco, then there's a 60% chance that the plane is gonna crash. Do you still wanna fly? According to Dave Ramsey's plan, if you retire at the beginning of 2024, then there's a 90% chance that you'll have $0 by 2033, 9 years later. But let's imagine there's this person in an alternate universe named Rave Damsey. He assumes the same outrageous 12% average annual return as Dave Ramsey, but Rave decides to reduce his safe withdrawal rate down from 8 to 4%. If he did that, then the probability of success goes from 40% to 81%. If only Dave Ramsey was willing to change his mind about anything. Unfortunately, he is a victim of his own success, so I can see him actually doubling down on this. The main issue is that Dave assumes you're going to get 12% every single year for the rest of your life. But that's not how averages work. Here are the yearly returns of the S&P 500. Some years, it's above his crazy 12% return assumption, and other times, it's below. This is what's called sequence of return risk. It refers to the risk that the order in which investment returns occur can negatively impact the overall value of a portfolio when withdrawals are made. This is especially problematic if these withdrawals happen during periods of low or negative returns. This risk can lead to using up all of your retirement funds faster than expected. Sequence of return risk is what Dave Ramsey refuses to account for in his 8% withdrawal rate. They are accounted for in the 4% withdrawal rate, which is why the 4% withdrawal rate is what it is. Here's another good example of sequence of return risk from Charles Schwab and why the timing of when you retire is extremely important. Two investors retire with $1 million. The first retires and experiences 2 consecutive years of market declines and ends up with $0 in less than 18 years. The second investor didn't get those 2 declines until a few years later, and she's left with about $400,000. Here's why I say the 3 to 4% safe withdrawal rate is just a guideline. If both of these retired investors scale back their withdrawal amounts and spending, then their portfolios will in fact recover. Your withdrawal rate is not static, and it should be adjusted based on market conditions, which is why you need to be able to flex your spending up and down depending on what's happening in the world. Seems to me like Dave Ramsey is the fire starter and the firefighter. Sure, he helps you get out of debt. Then he sends you back to the poorhouse with his investing advice so that he can turn around and help you get back out of debt because you need to borrow money again since your investments are worth $0 now. As with all of these projections we make, when it comes to saving for retirement, they are models. And sometimes models change. It's no different whether you're pre or post-retirement. Life isn't static. It's constantly changing in different directions, up and down. You're going to need to monitor and adjust leading up to and after retirement. The way I personally plan, monitor, and adjust my retirement outlook is through retirement planning software called New Retirement. It is a must-have for do-it-yourself investors. They do offer a free version, but to be honest, the price of the paid version is insanely low for all of the amazing features that they give you. I'll have a link in the description of this video to check it out. Heads up that if you get the paid version through that link, then it does help support the free content on this channel, as well as my dog Molly, at no extra cost to you, so thank you so much in advance. YouTube thinks that you should watch this video to your left next. Please make sure to hit that thumbs up button to help support the channel. I'll see you in the next one, friends. Done.